The Alien Scan of a Human Warship Study Guide, and a transcript from that HFY Paragon YouTube video, the one called Alien Scan a Human Warship. What they saw left them terrified.
And just for today's chat, we're kind of treating the events in this story as, facts within its own universe. Okay, perfect. So our mission then, sail out. Figure out why this human ship, the Indomitable belonging to a species the aliens called Savage, basically scared the Varians, or Rothans, so badly, especially since these aliens were supposed to be, way more advanced members of this Galactic Union. So where does it all kick off?
Well, it starts way before the actual encounter. The Varians, or Rothans, they'd actually been watching humanity for, like, decades.
Decades, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And their initial read, humans were chaotic, maybe a bit reckless, definitely stubborn, didn't want to join their big galactic union.
And their tech. What did the aliens think of our weapons and stuff?
Primitive. Honestly, almost laughable to them. They saw our kinetic weapons, our early energy stuff, even nukes. And compared to their galactic standards, it was, well, pretty basic.
So bottom line, they figured humanity was just some noisy, maybe troublesome species, but not a real threat. Not on a galactic scale anyway.
Exactly. They just didn't see humanity as a serious player. Which is interesting, because you wonder, did they just ignore our, rapid development sometimes? Or our history of being pretty tough in fights?
Good point. Maybe they were just too caught up in their own idea of what a proper spacefaring civilization looks like.
Could be. Maybe our independence, our focus on doing our own thing instead of joining their club, maybe they just saw that as weakness. Didn't consider we might be developing fast on our own.
Which brings us to the main event, right? The scam.
Right. A Varian scout ship, super confident in its tech, decides to scan this human warship, the Indomitable. Probably thought it was just another routine check.
And I'm guessing the results weren't exactly routine.
No. That's putting it mildly. Both sources stress this. Immediate, serious alarm bells start ringing on the Varian ship. The Indomitable wasn't just built differently. Its whole design seemed to, break the rules of warship construction as they knew them.
Wait, now we're getting to the good stuff. The hull, for example.
Yeah, the hull wasn't just metal. It was this complex, layered thing. Exotic materials, composites, apparently designed specifically to absorb and then dissipate energy weapon hits. Something totally new to them.
And the armor itself.
Ridiculously thick. Beyond anything practical for standard ship combat. It wasn't built for quick fights. It was built like a fortress, meant to endure a massive, prolonged attack.
Which really makes you wonder, what kind of enemy were the humans expecting to fight?
Exactly. It suggests a completely different strategic mindset. But it wasn't just the defenses that shocked them. The offensive weapons. That's where it gets really scary.
Okay, lay it on us. What kind of firepower are we talking about?
Well, first up, railguns. But not just any railguns. These things fired slugs at relativistic speeds.
Relativistic, so like a noticeable fraction of light speed.
Pretty much. The kinetic energy alone would be unbelievable. Far beyond normal explosions.
Ouch. Okay, what else?
Plasma lances. Weapons designed to just slice through warship hull, vaporize sections instantly. Definitely not. Then you've got missiles. Thousands of them. And get this, the warheads didn't just explode, they warped space locally.
Warped space? How does that even work?
The idea is it momentarily messes with the fabric of space-time around the target, bypassing shields and armor for an instant. Crazy stuff.
Okay, that's already terrifying, but I get the feeling there's more.
Oh yeah, it gets darker. The secondary systems were almost worse psychologically. They had boarding drones.
Like little robot invaders?
Kind of. But armed with monomolecular blades, think edges just one molecule thick. They could cut through almost anything, and they carried viral hacking programs.
So they could physically board and digitally cripple a ship.
Exactly. Like a digital plague spreading through the enemy systems.
And I read something about nanites.
Nanite swarms. Microscopic robots designed to just dissolve metal and flesh. Imagine a cloud of that stuff coming at you.
Nightmare fuel. Okay, but there was something even worse, wasn't there? The thing that really shook the Varians?
The exotroopers, yeah. That seems to be the tipping point.
Exotroopers, what were they?
The sources describe them as, well, cybernetic monstrosities. They were apparently built using, the remains of fallen human soldiers, heavily augmented.
Seriously, that's grim.
Incredibly grim. And packed with enough firepower to level cities. Just the idea of facing one of these things, part biological, part machine, all destruction, it really messed with the Varians.
Yeah, I can see why. No wonder one of their officers called the Indomitable a nightmare-given form. It wasn't just a ship, it was like humanity's capacity for brutal warfare made real.
And suddenly, that whole debate the Galactic Union was having, should we integrate the humans, or maybe we need to stop them? It all seemed based on a massive misunderstanding. Maybe humanity wasn't unfocused. Maybe they were just focused on preparing for something else.
So the Varian captain, Zorth, sees all this data flooding in. He gets it. They've screwed up their assessment big time. What does he do?
His reaction is pure panic, basically. Orders his crew, stop scanning, power down weapons now, and send an urgent message home. Be extremely careful with these humans. Don't provoke them.
But hang on, the Varians had stealth tech, right? Good stealth tech.
Supposedly top of the line.
Hmm.
But it didn't matter. The Indomitable detected them instantly.
Whoa. So much for being sneaky observers.
Exactly. That was another shock. Their best stealth, completely useless. Then this cold, kind of mechanical human voice just cuts into their comms demanding ID.
Oof. Talk about turning the tables. So Zorth tries to bluff his way out, claims they were just looking around.
Yeah, he tries to play it cool, just conducting observations. But the human ship wasn't buying it.
How did they respond?
With chilling efficiency. The same flat voice comes back, basically mocking their sophisticated cloaking technology. Then immediately, the Indomitable's engines flare, weapons power up fully, and targeting locks snap onto the Varian scout ship. Multiple locks.
Okay, message received loud and clear. We see you, we know you're lying, don't mess with us. What was the actual warning they gave?
It was blunt. Something like, pick another civilization to spy on. Remember who owns this sector. No threats, just a cold, hard statement of fact and a clear boundary.
And Zorth, this experienced captain, what's his big realization in that moment?
It hits him hard. Humanity isn't just another species playing the same game. There's something different, something the Union completely failed to understand, and he knows right then the galaxy's just changed. Forever.
So he gets out of there fast and reports back. How does High Command react to this bombshell?
It's taken incredibly seriously. Zorth gets pulled immediately to report directly to the War Council of his people, the Royan Dominion.
The War Council? That sounds like a big deal.
Huge deal. Apparently, they only convene the full council for, existential threats. Think species that eat stars, like this group called the UR Hive. So summoning them for a report about humans, it shows they're suddenly seeing humanity as a potential apex predator.
And the council's big question must have been why? Why build ships like the Indomitable? Why all the fortifications if humanity wasn't expanding aggressively? It seems like a weird contradiction.
It absolutely does. Most powerful species expand, grab territory. Humans were pouring insane resources into their military and defenses, but staying put. Mostly. It didn't fit the pattern. So Zorth gets a new mission. Find out what the humans are so afraid of.
And the answer turns out to be way worse than a potential war with the Varians or the Union, right?
Yeah.
Royan intelligence finds something unexpected.
Totally unexpected. Deep in uncharted space, they find wreckage. Massive wreckage.
Yeah.
Ships bigger than anything they've ever recorded, completely torn apart. And it's not human tech, not Varian, not anything known.
Wreckage from what, though? A war.
Doesn't look like war. The damage is too extreme, caused by forces they can't explain. But the really chilling part,
What's that?
there's still faint energy signatures active within the debris field. Whatever destroyed those giant ships,
Yeah.
it's still there somehow.
Okay, that's creepy.
And then comes the gut punch. The Royan analysts realize humanity already knew about this. The Indomitable, its insane weapons, its thick armor. It wasn't built for the Galactic Union. It was built to fight this unknown thing. Their run-in with Zorth was just an accidental reveal of a much bigger, hidden war.
Which leads Zorth to do something pretty bold. Contact the Indomitable again, contact Captain Elias Grant.
Exactly, a huge risk. Zorth basically says, okay, we found the wreckage, we know, and Grant, realizing the secret's out, confirms it.
And he finally tells Zorth the whole story.
Yeah. About 80 years earlier, humans started picking up weird signals from deep space. Then ships started disappearing out there. Finally, they found the wreckage field themselves. So it wasn't a battlefield, it was extermination.
Did they send anyone to investigate?
They did. Scout teams. Most never came back. The few who did were changed. The sources are kind of vague, hinting at serious trauma, maybe more.
And eventually, humans actually encountered whatever did this. They got footage.
Fragmented footage, yeah. A human patrol fleet stumbling onto something in the debris.
What did it show?
This huge thing. Looked derelict at first, this bizarre mix of organic and machine. Then it just unfolded. Revealed weapons, these horrible claw-like arms. And inside, glimpses of figures. Twisted shapes, remnants of other species it had assimilated. Still wearing bits of old uniform.
Oh, that's horrifying. And the fight?
A massacre. The human ships fired everything they had. Energy weapons got absorbed or bent. Kinetic rounds just dissolved. Then the entity hit back. Human ships didn't just blow up, they corroded, dissolved. Crews died screaming as their own ship's environment turned toxic. They lost the whole fleet.
Did they give this thing a name?
They did. Arabus means ancient consuming adaptive terror, basically. And humanity's been fighting a secret war against them ever since. They don't know how many there are, where they came from, just that they consume everything. And Grant's final warning to Zorth, there are more coming.
Okay, wow. So Zorth finally gets it. Why humanity was so secretive, why they built the Indomitable, panic in the galaxy, other species trying to fight the Arabus unprepared. It would have been chaos.
Precisely. Humanity wasn't trying to conquer anything. They were just trying to survive. The ship, the lack of expansion, it was all about getting ready for the Arabus.
And these Arabus, they adapt. They absorb tech and biology.
In real time, which makes them terrifyingly unpredictable. And the rest of the Galactic Union, completely unprepared, utterly vulnerable.
And the unspoken fear. Have the Arabus already reached human space?
It's heavily implied, yeah. There's this sense of borrowed time, maybe a decade, Grant estimates, before the Arabus hit the wider galaxy in force, maybe less.
So Zorth's mission changes completely. He asks Grant to let him go, not to report on humans, but to warn everyone else about the Arabus.
Right, and Grant agrees. He sees the bigger picture now. The encounter wasn't just a warning, it's now a chance, maybe the only chance, to fight together.
So Zorth heads back to the Dominion, carrying this insane news. But convincing the War Council, that can't have been easy.
No way. Predictably, there's huge skepticism. One warlord, Veer, just dismisses it all as a human trick, some elaborate lie.
So Zorth has to really sell it.
He pleads with them, lays out the evidence, the footage, the sheer terror he felt facing the Indomitable and then learning about the Arabus. It's his conviction, maybe, that starts to sway them.
And the big boss, Grand Warlord Torval.
He's hesitant at first, naturally. It's unbelievable stuff.
Yeah.
But the evidence, Zorth's desperation, it sinks in. Torval makes the call. Mobilize everything. Warn the Galactic Union. His line's pretty epic. We will not die in silence.
Which brings us to 5 years later. What's the scene?
It's incredible. A combined fleet. Humans, Rothans, other Galactic Union members, all orbiting Royan Prime together. Old enemies, side by side.
Wow. So the warning worked. They united.
They did. Humanity shared its tech, its knowledge about the Arabus. The Indomitable isn't unique anymore. It's the model for a whole new class of warships across the Allied fleets. Zorth and Grant are there, together.
And
then they arrive. This unnatural darkness spreads. And out of it come the Arabus ships. Twisted, organic machine hybrids, decorated with the bones of past victims. The war for the galaxy begins.
Okay, let's just process that. We went from aliens thinking humans were basically primitives.
Dangerous primitives, maybe, but nothing major.
To realizing humans were secretly fighting this galaxy-ending horror, the Arabus, and had built ships like the Indomitable specifically for that fight. And that initial fear the aliens felt, it was nothing compared to the real threat.
Exactly. And the only way forward was for everyone, even old enemies, to team up. It completely flips the script.
Yeah, the real aha moment here is how it plays with expectations. It's not the usual humans suddenly conquer the galaxy story. It's more like humanity was quietly preparing for the real final boss while everyone else was squabbling. It's still got that humanity fuck yeah vibe, but it's about foresight and grim preparation, not just brute force.
Totally. It makes you think differently about strength, right? Is it about being the loudest or the biggest empire? Or is it about seeing the real danger coming and getting ready for it, even when no one else believes you?
For sure. And what about underestimation? The Varians completely misjudged humanity based on, well, surface appearances and their own biases. It's a good reminder to look deeper.
Definitely. It forces you to consider, what other massive threats might be out there, completely off our radar, and who might turn out to be the allies we desperately need when those threats finally show up.
Or even, what does it really mean to be the top dog, the apex predator, in a universe where something like the Arabus can just appear and change all the rules? Makes you think about the long game, doesn't it? What might be lurking just over the horizon that we haven't even imagined yet?